The arrival of the warship, the galaxy was calm. Trade ships moved between worlds, patrol fleets guarded the borders, and the great civilizations believed they were safe. For thousands of years, the Galactic Council had ruled this part of the stars. They thought no young species could ever challenge them. But that peace ended the day a strange warship arrived. It appeared without warning, emerging from the dark void between stars. At first, sensors failed to understand it. The ship was enormous, larger than any battleship the galaxy had ever built. Its design was strange. Sharp lines, black armor, no symbols, no known energy signature. It did not broadcast a name, or a flag, or even a greeting. It simply arrived and stood silent, drifting at the edge of Council space. Alien commanders were confused. Was it a new ship from one of the great empires? A lost weapon from an ancient race? Or something worse? Then came the shock. The ship was human. The word spread fast, racing through communication channels like fire. Humanity. A small race, barely known to most of the galaxy. They had no great empire, no old history among the stars. Many thought of them as weak, still learning how to survive in space. They were young compared to the 1,000-year civilizations of the Council. And yet here was their warship, standing alone in the darkness. The alien fleets moved quickly. Scouts were sent. Reports came back filled with fear. The warship was armed, beyond reason. Its weapons glowed with unknown energy. Its shields were thicker than anything seen before. Even its movement was strange. Silent, smooth, as if space itself bent around it. The council gathered in emergency session. 12 alien leaders argued across the great chamber. Some said humanity was bluffing. Others warned that this single ship could not be ignored. Humans are children, said the Zalorian delegate, slamming a claw on the table. They play with fire they do not understand. We must strike first before they bring more. But the Coranth leader shook his scaled head. Look again at the readings. No child builds a monster like that. What if this is not their only ship? Across the galaxy, fear spread. Civilian networks whispered stories. Merchants changed their routes to avoid the sector. Soldiers prepared for war. And still, the warship did nothing. It did not move closer. It did not send a single message. It only watched as if waiting. The alien admirals could not stand the silence. A fleet of 30 ships approached, engines burning bright. They formed a wall in front of the warship and opened channels. Demands were sent. Identify yourself. State your purpose. Leave our space. No reply came. The human warship remained dark and silent. For long minutes, the two sides faced each other, in the cold of space. The alien fleet was sure of victory. They had numbers, experience, and the backing of the Council. What was one human ship against 30 of the galaxy's best? But deep inside their hearts, the captains felt uneasy. The human ship did not fear them. Its silence was not weakness. It was something else. Something terrifying. Then, the alien commander gave the order. Fire. Energy beams lit up the void. Missiles streaked across the black sky. 30 ships unleashed their full power. Space itself burned with light and fury. And when the storm ended, the human warship was still there. The smoke cleared. The shields shimmered, glowing faintly, then faded back to black. Not a single scar marked the armor. The human warship had not moved an inch. On every alien ship, silence fell. Crews stared in horror at their screens. Their strongest weapons had done nothing. And then, for the first time, the warship moved. Its guns turned slowly, glowing with a light no one had ever seen before. A low hum spread across the battlefield, like the sound of a giant waking from sleep. And before the aliens could react, the warship fired. One shot. The lead alien cruiser vanished. No explosion. No wreckage. Just gone. Erased from existence. Panic spread through the fleet. Orders clashed over comms. Some captains tried to retreat, others to charge forward. But it was too late. The warship fired again, and again. Each strike, destroying a ship instantly. In less than a minute, the 30 proud ships of the Galactic Council were gone. The void was silent once more. Only the human warship remained, calm, untouched, waiting. Across the galaxy, the story spread. A single human ship had faced the finest fleet of the Council and broken them effortlessly. No one knew why it had come. No one knew what it wanted. But one thing was clear. Humanity was no longer weak. Humanity was no longer small. Humanity had arrived. And the galaxy would never be the same. The Galactic Council's fear, the destruction of 30 warships, shocked the galaxy. News spread faster than light. Entire star systems repeated the same whisper. The humans have a warship. The humans destroyed a fleet. For thousands of years, the Galactic Council had been the center of power. 12 great civilizations, ancient and proud, ruled the trade routes, the laws, the peace. To the younger species, the Council seemed unshakable, eternal. But now, for the first time in centuries, cracks of fear spread across its foundation. Inside the great chamber of the Council, tension burned hotter than any star. The chamber itself was massive, built on a world where the sky was forever golden. Each seat was carved for a different species. Thrones of stone, pools of liquid for aquatic races, towers of glass for the insectoid clans. The leaders sat in silence, their eyes fixed on the glowing images above the center table. The images showed the human warship. Dark, silent, immovable. The Zalorian delegate, tall and armored with bone-like plates, slammed his clawed hand against the table. His voice was a hiss of anger. 30 ships, 30 of our finest, erased like insects. Do you understand what this means? Humanity is not weak. They are dangerous. They must be crushed now before they spread. A low rumble echoed from the Coranth leader, a reptilian figure with scaled skin shimmering in green light. He spoke slowly, his eyes never leaving the warship's image. You speak of crushing them. Yet tell me, how do we crush what we cannot harm? Our weapons, our fleets, they did nothing. That ship was untouchable. If that is only one vessel, how many more wait in the dark? The room grew quiet. Even the proudest empires hesitated. At last, the elder of the Luthari, a being of light and energy, spoke. Its voice was soft but carried weight across the chamber. Humans should not be here. They were not part of our rise. They did not crawl among the stars when we did. They were supposed to stay small on their little world. And yet, they stand before us now, armed with power we cannot explain. Tell me, Council, who gave them this strength? The question hung like a shadow. Some whispered of ancient technology. Others accused rival empires of secretly arming humanity. But no proof existed. Only one fact remained clear. Humanity had changed. Beyond the chamber, the galaxy trembled. Civilian broadcasts were filled with panic. Merchants demanded protection for their routes. Soldiers whispered in their barracks about the black ship that destroyed fleets without effort. Even pirates, usually fearless, avoided human space. Fear was not only in words, it was in actions. Armies doubled their training. Fortresses were reinforced. Fleets moved closer to the human border. The galaxy, once calm, now bristled like a cornered beast. Inside the Council, arguments grew louder. The insectoid Zir delegates screeched, their voices sharp. Strike their worlds. Burn their colonies before they can send more ships. But the aquatic Veyron queen, floating in her sphere of water, shook her head. No, that path is madness. You saw what they did with one ship. What if we strike their worlds and they release 10 more? We cannot risk it. The debate turned to chaos. Accusations flew. Threats hissed across the chamber. Old rivalries resurfaced, empires blaming each other, accusing secret alliances with humans. And through it all, one truth cut deeper than any blade. No one understood humanity anymore. To the Council, humans were supposed to be a young race, only a few centuries in space, still learning, still fragile. They should have been weak. They should have been dependent. But that warship told a different story. Humanity had built something that defied logic. something even the ancients could not match. Why? How? The council demanded answers. Spies were sent, data was stolen, every human signal was listened to. But humans were careful. Their worlds were closed, their communications encrypted, their fleets hidden. All the council could see was that single warship waiting silently, like a predator watching its prey. One by one. The leaders realized a terrifying thought. What if humanity is no longer a child race? What if humanity has surpassed us? The chamber, filled with fear. Not fear of humans alone, but fear of what they represented. A change in the galaxy's balance. A shift in power. The fall of the old order. The elder of the Luthari spoke again, its form flickering like flame. We stand at a crossroad. If humanity seeks peace, we may survive. If they seek war. It did not finish the sentence. None dared to. At last, the council voted. A secret resolution was passed. Fleets would be gathered. The strongest navies of the galaxy would unite, forming a single colossal armada. They would meet the human warship again, not with 30 ships, but with thousands. The council's hope was simple. Overwhelm humanity with numbers. Crush them with unity. But deep inside, in the silence they never spoke aloud, each leader wondered the same thing. What if even thousands are not enough, and far away, at the edge of space, the human warship remained. Silent. Patient. Watching. It had not moved since the battle. It had not sent a single word, but its presence was louder than any declaration of war. The galaxy was afraid, and fear was only the beginning. First engagement. The galaxy had not known silence like this in centuries. Trade slowed. Fleets refused to travel near human space. Entire star systems whispered about the black warship that had destroyed 30 of the council's finest ships with ease. Yet the ship did not advance. It stayed where it was, alone, dark, waiting. The Galactic Council could not stand this quiet threat. They had built their power on fear and respect. Now, fear belonged to someone else. Humanity had stolen it with a single vessel. And so, the Council prepared a new fleet. Not 30 ships this time, not even 100. 300 of their strongest warships gathered in formation, shining like blades in the void. The admirals believed in numbers. One human ship cannot defeat hundreds, they told themselves. It is impossible. But doubt lived in their eyes. The armada launched, cutting through space toward the silent predator. On the human warship, the crew watched calmly. They were fewer than the galaxy imagined. Barely a few thousand souls, each one trained beyond human limits. The ship itself was their fortress, their shield, their sword. They did not speak loudly. They did not celebrate. They only prepared. The commander, a man with silver streaks in his hair and eyes like cold steel, stood on the bridge. He watched the alien fleet approach, and for a moment, he almost smiled. 300 ships, he said softly. They think numbers will save them. Around him, his officers waited for orders. None asked for mercy. None suggested retreat. Humanity had learned long ago. If you are attacked, you do not bow. You endure. You strike. The alien fleet arrived in perfect lines, their engines glowing. They filled the void like a wall of fire, surrounding the lone human ship. The alien commander, a proud Zir general, opened all channels. His voice rang with false confidence. Human vessel, you are in violation of council space. You will surrender immediately or you will be destroyed. Silence. The warship gave no reply. Its black armor reflected no light. Its guns remained still. The general sneered and gave the order. Fire. The galaxy burned. 300 ships released their fury at once. Beams of energy, missiles, plasma bolts, every weapon known to the council screamed across space. The storm was endless, drowning the human warship in fire. For long seconds, nothing could be seen through the blaze. Alien crews cheered. Victory seemed certain. No vessel could survive such a storm. But then, the light cleared. And the human warship was still there. Untouched, unmoved, silent. The alien cheers died instantly. Terror replaced them. Impossible, whispered the Zir general. His claws trembled on the command console. Then the human ship moved. Not fast, not reckless. Slowly, with purpose. Its weapons turned, glowing with a cold light. Sensors across the alien fleet screamed warnings. Shields at maximum. Spread formation. Brace. Too late. The first human shot tore through an alien battleship. It did not explode. It simply shattered, its armor melting, its core gone. A ship that had stood for a century was erased in seconds. The second shot followed. Another ship gone. Then another. And another. The human warship's fire was calm, measured, almost merciful. Each shot was perfect, each strike unstoppable. Ships fell one after another, no matter how they dodged, no matter how strong their shields. Alien crews screamed across comms. We cannot hold. We cannot stop it. Panic spread like disease. Some tried to retreat, others charged in desperation. The void turned chaotic, a storm of broken formations and desperate maneuvers. But the warship did not break formation. It remained alone, steady, patient. And every move the aliens made ended the same, with another ship destroyed. Inside the council chamber, leaders watched the battle live. Their faces were pale, their bodies tense. They cannot win, whispered the Veyron queen. 300 ships, and still, the Zalorian delegate roared in anger. Fight harder. Push forward. Do not let them. But before he could finish, another image flashed across the chamber. Another alien fleet destroyed in flames. The truth was undeniable. Back in the void, the alien commander realized his fleet was lost. His voice broke with fear as he sent his last order. All ships, retreat, retreat. But retreat was chaos. Engines flared, ships turned in panic, and the warship hunted them one by one. In the end, only a handful of alien vessels escaped, their hulls burning, their crews broken. The rest were gone. 300 ships reduced to wreckage in less than an hour. The human warship did not pursue. It did not chase the survivors. It simply turned its guns back to silence, waiting again in the dark. Across the galaxy, the story spread like wildfire. 300 ships, lost. Against one. The fear became deeper, heavier. No one laughed at humans now. No one called them weak. And for the first time in living memory, the Galactic Council trembled. Because if one human warship could break 300 of the galaxy's finest, what would happen when humanity sent an entire fleet? The galaxy had no answer. But the warship was still there, silent and patient. Watching. Waiting. And everyone knew. It was not finished yet. Whispers of humanity. The galaxy had seen many wars. Empires rose and fell. Civilizations fought for resources, pride, and survival. But never in memory had one ship stood against hundreds and survived. The human warship had done more than destroy fleets. It had destroyed illusions. The illusion that the Council was invincible. The illusion that young races could never threaten. The old. And now, whispers spread. On mining colonies at the edge of Council space, workers spoke in hushed voices. They say the human ship is invincible, that no weapon can touch it. Merchants in crowded trade hubs told stories to frightened customers. 300 ships gone in an hour. The humans didn't even chase the survivors. They don't need to. One ship is enough. Soldiers on patrol whispered in their barracks at night. They say humans don't fear death. They fight like demons. What if that ship is only the first? Even children repeated the stories, their voices filled with awe and fear. Humans are monsters. Or maybe they are gods. The whispers reached deeper, turning into legends. Some said humanity had discovered lost technology from an ancient race. Others swore the humans had made a deal with the darkness between the stars. A few even believed the warship was alive, a creature wrapped in steel, with a human crew only pretending to control it. No one knew the truth. But fear does not need truth. Fear grows on its own. Inside the council chambers, the leaders argued again. They had hoped the loss of 30 ships was a mistake. They had believed numbers would win. But 300 ships had been destroyed. And the human warship still stood. The insectoid Zir delegate slammed his claws in rage. We cannot let this continue. If we wait, the humans will bring more ships. They will rise against us all. We must crush their worlds. But the Varen, queen floating in her sphere of water, shook her head. Her voice was calm but heavy. Crush their worlds? You saw what happened to 300 ships. Do you think their homeworld will be unguarded? Do you think humanity does not expect such an attack? The chamber filled with unease. For the first time, no one shouted back. No one had an answer. Far from politics, soldiers who had fought the human warship gave their own accounts. Survivors spoke with hollow eyes. They never missed, said one. Every shot hit exactly where it had to. It was like they could see the future. They didn't chase us, whispered another. They could have, but they let us live. Do you know what that means? It means they wanted us to tell the story. They wanted fear to spread. And spread it did. On human colonies. The mood was different. For centuries, humans had been ignored by the galaxy's great empires. They had been called weak, reckless, primitive. Now, whispers of pride filled human settlements. Did you hear? One of our ships destroyed 300 of theirs. They used to laugh at us, now they fear us. But alongside pride was caution. Humans were not fools. They knew the council would not stop. They knew more fleets would come. And so quietly, humanity prepared. Shipyards lit up with new construction. Soldiers trained harder than ever before. Plans were drawn, secret and silent. The warship at the edge of council space was not just a defender. It was a warning. A message, written in fire. Do not test us again. Yet the whispers did not stop. They grew darker, stranger. Some aliens said humanity was not new at all. That they had been here before, long ago in forgotten wars, only to vanish and return stronger. Others claimed humanity had evolved through endless conflict. While other species enjoyed peace and empires, humans had fought themselves for centuries. War after war, never resting, never breaking. And now, all that pain had forged them into something the galaxy could not match. The most chilling whisper of all came from a refugee fleet fleeing the council's borders. What if the ship we see is not their strongest? What if humanity sent only one to test us, to measure us? What if the real fleet waits beyond the stars? In the shadows of cantinas, in the halls of power, in the dreams of frightened children, one truth became clear. Humanity was no longer seen as weak. They were seen as something else. Something greater. Something dangerous. The galaxy had begun to change. Empires that once threatened their neighbors now watched the stars with caution. Smugglers avoided human routes. Armies trained, but their hearts were heavy with doubt. And above it all, the black warship still waited, silent, patient, watching. It did not speak. It did not move. Yet its silence was louder than any declaration of war. Inside the human warship, the commander stood at the bridge. He knew the galaxy whispered, knew fear spread like fire, and he allowed it. Let them talk, he said quietly to his crew. Fear is a weapon. Let them sharpen it for us. And the crew obeyed, eyes hard, hands steady, for they too knew the truth. The galaxy thought the warship was humanity's first great weapon. But it was not the first. And it would not be the last. The whispers were only the beginning. The galaxy could no longer ignore humanity. 2 fleets had fallen. First 30 ships, then 300. Both were destroyed by a single human warship. Not damaged, not forced back, destroyed. The council's pride lay in ruins. Fear was spreading faster than their ships could travel. Civilizations that once trusted the Council now whispered about its weakness. Merchants avoided Council patrols. Border worlds began to question their loyalty, and always, the shadow of the human warship hung over them, silent, patient, waiting. The Council leaders knew they were losing more than ships. They were losing control. In the great chamber, the air was heavy with desperation. The 12 leaders sat in a circle, their voices sharp, their words filled with fear. The Zir delegate, his insectoid body trembling, struck the table with his claws. We must act now. Humanity is growing bolder every day. If we delay, they will build more ships. They will challenge us openly. The Karanth leader hissed, his scaled face cold. We have already acted twice. 30 ships, 300, both destroyed. Do you want to throw away more fleets? The room erupted. Voices clashed, each one louder than the last. Accusations flew. Some blamed the humans for stealing ancient weapons. Others accused rival empires of secretly helping them. The chamber shook with anger and fear. Finally, the elder of the Luthari, beings of living light, spoke. Its voice was calm, but the glow of its body dimmed with unease. The galaxy is watching. If we do nothing, our people will lose faith. The Council will fall apart. We must act, not for pride, but for survival. The words cut through the noise. Silence followed. And then, slowly, the idea formed. If one empire could not defeat humanity, then all must unite. If one fleet could not crush the warship, then the galaxy would send every fleet it had. The Council issued its greatest command in centuries, a call to arms. Every member species was ordered to send their strongest ships. Old rivalries were set aside. Trade routes were emptied. Shipyards worked without rest. Across the stars. The galaxy prepared for war. It was a sight unseen in living memory. Thousands of ships gathered from every corner of Council space. Heavy cruisers with glowing plasma cores, swarms of insectoid frigates, Leviathan carriers, larger than cities, built to unleash endless waves of fighters. For the first time, enemies stood side by side. The proud Zir aligned with the cautious Veyren. The reptilian Karanth flew alongside the luminous Luthari. Even the mercenary fleets once hired to fight petty border wars were summoned to join. The greatest armada in galactic history was born. And yet, for all its power, it did not feel strong. Whispers haunted every hangar, every barrack. 300 ships could not stop it. What if even this is not enough? What if the humans have more? Soldiers painted symbols of luck on their armor. Pilots wrote farewell letters to families before launching. Admirals stood tall in public, but behind closed doors their hands shook. The Council leaders broadcast their message to the galaxy. Humanity has attacked us. Humanity threatens us all. We must strike together for the safety of every world. But the galaxy knew better. Humanity had not attacked. Humanity had only defended. The message was not truth. It was fear disguised as courage. Still, the armada prepared. For the Council, it was not about truth anymore. It was about survival. On the human warship, the crew received the reports. Their sensors tracked the growing fleet, counting thousands of enemy signatures. The officers looked to their commander. Some expected concern. Some expected orders to retreat. But the commander only stood at the window watching the stars. His voice was calm. So, they are finally serious. No one else spoke. They understood. Humanity had expected this. Humanity had planned for this. The warship's silence had never been weakness. It had been bait. Back in the Council chamber, the final plan was drawn. The combined fleet would surround the human ship from every angle, leaving no escape. Fighters would swarm. Battleships would hammer its shields. Carriers would cut off retreat. The fleet would strike together in one storm of fire. The admirals called it Operation Dawnfire, a name meant to inspire hope. But many soldiers whispered another name, the last gamble. Because if the Council failed this time, there would be no More fleets left to send. At last, the order was given. The armada moved. Thousands of ships cut across space, their engines glowing like rivers of fire. The largest fleet in galactic history, united against a single vessel. And far ahead, waiting in silence, the human warship turned its guns slowly, as if welcoming them. The galaxy held its breath. The Council had thrown everything into this strike. Victory was the only choice. Defeat was unthinkable. But deep inside every admiral, every captain, every soldier, the same fear whispered, what if one human warship is enough to break us all? And in that silence before the battle, the galaxy realized the truth. This was no longer about destroying a ship. It was about survival against humanity itself. The final battle. The galaxy had never seen a fleet so large. Thousands of warships glided through the void, filling entire sectors of space with engines and weapons. Carriers the size of cities carried endless squadrons of fighters. Leviathans, massive dreadnoughts built to crush worlds, sailed at the front. Behind them came swarms of smaller ships, quick and agile, armed to strike from every angle. It was more than an armada. It was the galaxy itself, united in fear of one enemy. And yet against all this, only one ship waited. The human warship. Black and silent, it stood alone, like a shadow against the stars. Its hull carried no marks from the battles before. Its guns were still. It did not move. But its silence was louder than the entire fleet's engines. On the bridge of the Council's flagship, Admiral Threx studied the battlefield. His 4 eyes narrowed as he looked at the human ship. One vessel, he muttered. One vessel against thousands. Today it ends, he gave the order. All fleets advance. The void lit up. Waves of fighters launched first, streaking through space like swarms of fireflies. Behind them, cruisers and destroyers surged forward, their weapons charging. The larger ships followed, moving slow but powerful, their cannons ready to burn the void. The first shots fired, thousands at once. Energy beams, missiles, plasma bursts. The very fabric of space shook under the storm. The black warship vanished under fire. Admirals cheered. Captains roared. Soldiers believed victory was theirs. But when the light cleared, the warship was still there. Untouched. Its shields glowed faintly, then returned to black. No damage. No weakness. The cheering died. Then, for the first time since its arrival, the warship spoke. A single human voice, calm and steady, filled every comm channel across the fleet. You attacked first. You will regret this. The galaxy froze. Even admirals felt their hearts tremble. And then the warship fired. Its guns ignited with impossible light. One shot tore through a carrier, splitting it in half before it could launch its full squadrons. Another strike vaporized a dreadnought, its hull dissolving like paper in flame. Each shot was precise. Perfect. Unstoppable. Alien crews screamed. Ships broke formation. Fighters scattered like insects in fire. But the warship did not rush. It did not waste energy. It fired with patience, each attack a death sentence. The Council's admirals tried to rally their forces. Surround it. Focus fire! Do not let it break us! Thousands of ships unleashed their fury, drowning the warship in storms of fire. But again and again their weapons failed. Shields held. Armor endured. The human warship was not just surviving, it was winning. On the bridge of the warship, the human commander stood with calm eyes. His officers moved with precision, hands steady, voices sharp. Target locked. Fire. Next target acquired. There was no panic, no doubt, only discipline. The commander spoke softly. They think numbers matter. They forget that. Numbers without strength are nothing, and the warship proved him right. Minutes became an hour. The greatest fleet in history broke apart. Fighters, once countless, were scattered wrecks. Cruisers burned, drifting without power. Leviathans, proud symbols of council might, cracked and fell one by one. The battlefield became a graveyard of fire. The Council's admirals watched in horror as their fleets collapsed. Thousands of ships had come with hope. Now thousands were gone, erased as if they had never existed. Admiral Threx's voice shook as he gave his last command. All ships, retreat, save who you can. But there was no retreat. The warship hunted the fleeing vessels with cold precision, tearing them apart before they could escape. At last, only fragments remained. Broken hulls, silent wrecks, burning debris drifting through endless night. The Armada, the pride of the galaxy, was gone. And still, the human warship remained. Calm, silent, unharmed. Across the galaxy, the news spread like wildfire. Entire civilizations froze in shock. Families watched the destruction on their holoscreens. Soldiers in faraway garrisons fell silent, their courage broken. The Council had gambled everything, and they had lost. Humanity had done what no species in the galaxy's history had ever done. Defeated the combined might of all civilizations, and done so with a single ship. In the Council chamber, the leaders sat in silence. No one spoke. No one could. Their armies were broken, their people terrified, their power shattered. The Luthari elder whispered, its light dim. This is the end of us. No one argued. And far away in the darkness, the human commander stood on the bridge of his warship. He looked at the wreckage, at the shattered pride of the galaxy, and spoke softly. Now they understand. His crew remained silent, but their eyes were hard. They knew what came next. The galaxy had been warned. But warnings were only the beginning. Humanity's message, the battlefield was quiet now. Where thousands of ships had once filled the void, only wreckage remained. Broken hulls drifted without power. Fires burned silently in the cold of space. Debris floated like dust in a graveyard. And at the center of it all, the human warship waited. Its black armor still shone without scars. Its weapons cooled, silent after the storm. It stood untouched, unchallenged, unbroken. The galaxy had gathered, its greatest armada, and the warship had torn it apart. The Council's might was gone. Across the stars, the news spread like a tidal wave. Entire civilizations watched the holoscreens in disbelief. On mining worlds, workers dropped their tools, staring at the broadcasts. One ship destroyed them all. On merchant stations, traders whispered in fear. If the Council cannot protect us, who can? On border colonies, soldiers stood frozen, their courage drained. If humanity wished to conquer, who could stop them? The galaxy had never felt such fear. In the Council chamber, silence ruled. The 12 leaders sat broken, their voices gone, their pride shattered. The Zir delegate, once loud and arrogant, now sat hunched, his claws shaking. We are finished, he whispered. Finished. The Veyran queen floated weakly in her sphere of water, her voice soft. Not finished. Ruled. By them. And none could deny it. The Council was no longer the center of power. The galaxy's throne no longer belonged to them. It now belonged to humanity. Then, the human warship spoke again. Every comm channel across the galaxy came alive. Civilian networks, military frequencies, even private transmissions, all carried the same voice. Calm, cold human, you attacked us twice, then again with all your strength, and every time you failed. Billions listened, their hearts pounding. You believed us weak. You called us children. But you learned the truth. Humanity does not bow. Humanity does not break. Humanity endures. The words echoed through every star system. We did not come to conquer. We did not come to destroy. But know this. If you bring war to us, you will lose. Again and again. Until nothing remains. On alien worlds, entire populations trembled. Some fell to their knees, praying to powers they no longer trusted. Others whispered humanity's name with both fear and awe. The message was clear. Humanity was not seeking war. But neither would they forgive an attack. The warship's silence had been a warning. Its battles had been lessons. Its message was, now a law. On the bridge of the warship, the commander stood straight, his eyes sharp as steel. He watched the transmission spread through the stars, and he knew the galaxy was listening. He spoke once more, his voice steady. Remember this day. Remember what you saw. Humanity asks for peace, but we do not beg for it. If you threaten us, we will answer. And you already know the answer. The transmission ended. The warship turned slowly. Its engines glowed with silent power. And then, with a single jump, it vanished into the dark, leaving only wreckage behind. For a moment, the galaxy felt relief. The predator was gone. The black ship had left. But that relief did not last. Because the question lingered in every mind. Was that the only one? Whispers began again, louder than before. What if humanity has more? What if an entire fleet waits beyond the stars? What if the black warship was not their strongest? Fear spread deeper than ever, not fear of invasion, but fear of the unknown. The galaxy could not measure humanity anymore. They could not predict them. And fear of the unknown is the greatest fear of all. In hidden corners of the galaxy, resistance broke. Pirates abandoned their raids. Warlords surrendered their weapons. Small empires bent their knees before humanity. Even without human presence. The council tried to hold its power, but their voice was hollow. Their fleets were gone. Their words meant nothing. The galaxy no longer looked to them. It looked to Earth. On human worlds, the people listened too. They heard their commander's voice echo across the stars, and they knew the truth. Humanity was no longer small. Humanity was no longer weak. The galaxy feared them now. And with that fear came something greater than victory. It was survival. It was respect. It was the beginning of a new era. In the dark, among the stars, the warship sailed home. Its crew was silent, but their eyes burned with the same thought. They had not just defended humanity. They had changed the galaxy. And the commander knew it was only the beginning. Because fear would keep the galaxy silent for a time. But one day, someone would test them again. Someone would forget. And when that day came, humanity would be ready. Always ready.